Hey everybody, just a quick message from Bonkers Network. We would like to remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
You know this world has gone insane. It is absolutely no secret. But tonight, Saturday night, you are about to experience the true measures of what that insanity can bring you. Tonight, you are about to see Ball and Bonkers, the one-of-a-kind show that delves deep into a world that's no holds barred. Now, meet your hosts, Dakota Franson, specialist of the strange, and Crystal Mule, the UFO fanatic. Now, give it up, and let's see what these two idiots can bring you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Saturday tonight, and you know we had a special guest on tonight. Darryl is
Fucker stood us up.
Yes, and he stood us up. He was meant to come on, and he's just, I don't know, he's not even answered our messages. That's terrible.
Not even looked at our messages. So unfortunately, we can't just stop a show. We got to keep going.
Yep. We've got to keep going, guys. So we're just going to talk about some amazingly interesting stories that's happening right now. Let's welcome a few of the people in the chat. We've got PWI, Spiritual Investigators. Welcome, PWI. Yeah.
And we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mike the Naked Bigfoot. Yes,
the legend. Congratulations, Mike. Well done for making it onto Darkness.
What?
That's Crystal Mule. Was that a Facebook user? So I can't tell who that is. I'm going to Facebook. I've got a feeling I think I know who it is. Right?
Yeah, probably.
So I'll need to wait till that starts working a wee bit. I've went and put up on the Facebook screen to see us. Right in the, whoever that is, if it's any of my family that's watching tonight that I was talking to you today, could you please put in the chat, because you're coming up as Facebook users, just in case,
Yeah, sometimes you gotta go through and do a verification just so we can see who the hell you are.
Yeah. So, Dakota, what's the crazy news for around the world? I mean, that one that you were telling us about, that one you were telling me tonight about, which is quite wacky, the Bigfoot.
I know. So, wildlife YouTuber Coyote Pearson.
Yeah.
He's known for doing a lot of crazy stunts to interact with wildlife. It honestly seems like he's trying to be the new Steve Irwin, and look how well that actually turned out.
Can I just say something? This is going out of a live network. I would just like to say hello to my cousin and my uncle that's probably sitting watching this. Next to him, that's my cousin there, and her husband and her grandkids, and my uncle. Hello.
Hi.
You're going out over the main network, so we'll go back to this now and tell us about the Bigfoot.
Right. So Coyote Pearson, he's known for doing a lot of crazy stunts for his YouTube channel. One of the big ones that I first came in contact with his content is where he would purposely have himself stung by some of the deadliest and most painful insects out there, just to see the reaction. So,
really,
the latest news is that this man is claiming to have found a primate skull deep in the jungles of British Columbia.
Shite, I've misspelled my bloody name. See, this is when you have a co-host. When you have a co-host like this, right?
Do you need my help, Christopher?
It's no
There
that.
you
It's
go.
no that. It's my computer's far away and I've not got long arms. That's terrible, guys.
There you go. See,
right.
I was just reiterating who Crystal Mule is. That's all.
On you go. I'm listening to you.
So, the controversy. Now, granted, like we said before, we had a guest kind of stand us up, so we're having to pull some shit up our ass. So, the controversy is that this guy is also claiming to have smuggled the remains across international lines to have them tested. So, and there's a lot of people, obviously, who are speculating it may not be legit. And if it is, he broke several international laws.
Like, I know a lot of people in this community, and I'm not going to name their names, and they're experts in this kind of stuff. And what I've seen so far is it is probably fake. And the guy should get into serious trouble for what he's done. But you don't find it quite strange that no one's actually ever found a Bigfoot skeleton?
Well, no one that we can fully confirm. There's one guy who claims that his family's had a specimen locked away in a freezer for several generations. There was that one guy who admitted he was lying the entire time, who swore up and down he managed to shoot a Bigfoot straight up the asshole.
That's very true.
Son of a bitch.
Hello, what's that? There's a new Facebook person following Stan.
We'll call him Stan.
We'll call you Stan because it's quite a long name you've got there, and my mispronunciation is terrible because I'm Scottish.
One of the explanations as to why we haven't found a body of a potential Sasquatch is that they bury their dead. And there's actually several animals that have been known to do that.
It's really quite interesting. Have you seen that video that's on TikTok, isn't it? Talking about this is something today. This shows you how intelligent these animals can be. Have you seen the one with the chimps and the drone?
I don't believe I have.
The chimps are flying the drone.
Yeah. The regular Planet of the Apes is getting ready to happen.
The chimps are sitting. The guys obviously showed them the controller. The women's obviously showed them the controller, right? They've given them the drone, and they've learnt how to fly that drone, which is ridiculously strange. At the same time, worrying.
It's not really that unusual because there's been several primates who were released from captivity who've seen people spearfish and seen the full process as to how to make the spears, where to look for where the best spots to go fishing are, and they were able to replicate it and teach it to their younger members of their tribes, essentially.
Yeah.
Then, all right. No, sorry for the mispronunciation. Just we're a couple of idiots. That's why we're called Bald and Bonkers. So.
You know, we should really invite, what's his name, Mike the Naked Bigfoot in, because he's actually a Bigfoot professor, being an expert.
I wish we were able to have some prep time to get.
We'll need to get you on one night.
Get Professor Melcham to talk about this because he would absolutely be able to debunk it right on the spot.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you for sharing this out.
Yeah, but it's not just chimps, Sherry. Orangutans, a lot of big primates have that intelligence capacity. They say that chimps are actually in their version of the Stone Age right now.
Yeah. So can you imagine 300 years from now? Can you imagine how intelligent those chimps will be?
Well, if we keep fucking around with some of the shit we are.
Well, you think about it, right? Let's talk about Elon Musk there. Look what he did. He implanted chips, and I don't mean the salt and vinegar ones. I mean chips, microchips, into their brains, and they can sit there, no move any of their limbs or hands, and play a computer game.
Oh yeah,
that's scary. That is very scary.
Here's something that's even scarier. And I promise this little segue does go back into the Coyote Pierce and just work with us here. there have been some, I believe it was out of China, where some genetic manipulation was taking place. You know how in the human brain, it has all those ripples and folds in it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain gene that allows for higher brain capacity in a smaller space, basically crumpling the brain into the limited space it has. They started putting that gene into monkeys.
Yeah. Hey, Drew in the chat. I mean, but it's scary that. I mean, right? You got to remember. What's the percentage of the brain the human brain doesn't use?
That's been debunked.
Are you sure? Is there no a bit of the brain that's used for higher function? Is it?
Humans they may not use 100% capacity throughout their day, but all parts of the brain are used.
Yeah.
That theory's been tossed out.
There you go. But we're right 500-600 years from now. Where do you think chimps will be if we're still alive? We've killed ourselves in a nuclear war.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's interesting to say because we have so many moving factors. It's hard to say.
Yeah. I've just noticed my uncle's in the chat there, and I've not seen him. Well, I've seen him today, but he stays down south in Southampton, so there you go. But you see, right, going back to the guy that's did this, right, with the skull. Yeah. What do you think that's made of? Do you think it's maybe a polycarbonate, or do you think he's maybe went to and got like a skull for somewhere else? Oh, he's getting abducted, and the aliens are coming for him.
The anatomy of the skull doesn't fit a potential Bigfoot. That's what we have to realize.
Yeah.
What we're basically looking at is likely a gorilla skull replica.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sasquatch, they have human level intelligence. They can speak human language.
You see, that's what I find fascinating. They've obviously learned human language, but it makes you wonder, how have they learned that human language? Have they sat in the bushes basically and watched humans speak?
No, they used to interact with native tribes fully.
But if you think about it, right, if you're a Native American Indian, right, and they say that us society hasn't came there yet, and they're still speaking in their language, they'll understand them. But I'm talking about the English language. I'm talking about the American language.
I'm progressing. There's actually a report, I believe it's out of Mike's area, if I'm not mistaken, where an individual who owns this huge plot of land, he puts up several food reserves for the animals in the wintertime. A tribe of Bigfoot actually approached him, sat down and talked with him. This is, of course, this is all allegations. We don't know the full truth behind it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story, nonetheless. Basically, they explained that they sat back and watched. The second that the white man came to here in the U.S., the white man obviously started shooting.
Yeah.
So they avoided it.
But I've heard, I mean, the creepy stories for the younger people that are watching this, the creepy stories here, right? And you'll back me up in this. There's actually is it the Native Americans talked about this? They would put their children to bed at night, and they would see the hairy hand coming into the tent to grab the children to take them away. And that's actually.
There is that. Instead, yes, we have seen the report, and we're kind of jumping around because we have no sense of flow here.
Yeah,
but yes, there's a lot of reports of people speculating that it's highly likely that this is a staged event, which all in all...
Of course it's staged, man. It is staged. I looked at that. I mean, that skull looks really, really clean. I know the guy dug it up, but it
wouldn't take much.
It looks like somebody's taken it, jet washed it. It looks bleached for a start, and then they've buried it, and it's only been there for like maybe half an hour.
Even a fresh set of bones would have some deterioration because of the amount of time it takes for a body, especially in British Columbia, to rot.
I've seen bones that have been under the ground for a long time, getting bring up, and they're very discoloured with the soil.
There's a reason why there's a body farm in Texas to test the different how the bodies deteriorate in various conditions. And I bring this up because we're dealing with a primate-like creature who likely has some sort of evolutionary pathway that is very similar to humans. So, by assumption, we can assume that basically if we were to kill a bunch of people that are the size of Shaquille O'Neal right now, that skull does not fit.
Yes, it doesn't.
It fits a gorilla.
I'm willing to bet that it's either a gorilla skull or he's bought it for somewhere. I wouldn't say it's polycarbonate. I wouldn't say it's like made with polycarbonate. I would say it as a skull.
Some kind of
but
resin.
I would say, he's purchased it somewhere.
It wouldn't take much nowadays.
I mean, what kind of trouble Janky could get into for all of that?
Well, let's observe both pathways here for a sec. For staging something like this, it's awfully, maybe a few loss of subscribers, things like that. But in the event that it was actually real remains, there is a lot of red tape he would have to go through in order to get it through customs.
Well, put it this way. If he to actually discover... Look, can I just say something? I'm amazed. If that's a real skull from a chimp, right, or a gorilla, right, and he's brought that into the country, and now he's obviously had to fly it in the box or something. The customs would have checked that. I mean, you got to remember, bones can carry parasites and stuff like that. These things have got to be like, there's machines.
Hence the red tape.
Yeah. There's machines that will actually... I've heard of this. If you die abroad and it's just your bones that's left, your bones have to be sanitised before they come into the country because of bacteria and stuff. But then if he's brought that in for, say, outside the country, illegally, he's broke all the laws. He's broke all the laws to do with parasites. In theory, there could have been a parasite attached to that that's now in the ground where he's dug that up. But he's buried that.
Here's the thing. Here's another thing I do not get. And this is why I encourage anybody who wants to get in the field of cryptozoology to watch a fucking nature documentary. Chimps, gorillas, any form of ape is a very tribal animal. And yet several of them have been known to have funerals. To make graves for their loved one. And chances are they would not be very far. He would be dead if there was other creatures, especially if that was genuine Sasquatch.
That's what I was thinking, right? I was also thinking this, right? You say that was a genuine skull that he's found, right? Do you really think that the U.S. Park Service or the United States government would allow that picture to get out? Do you really think they would allow him to keep that? How they've covered everything. You think about it, the National Park Service, they have covered up a lot of stuff. You look at that David Paulides missing 411, right? And they have covered up stuff. I mean, look, right, if you to go in the woods and you found that skull, right, you were digging about, you dug that skull up, right, and you put that online, do you not think that the government would come to your door?
It would really depend on the circumstances.
And how did they know to dig there anyway? What was in that area? What was special about that area? It was a wood.
Okay,
it's like walking.
Is it just because he happened to find a soft enough patch of land that was breaking away? There's so many unanswered variables here.
I could see the point. If there was a strange structure, right? A strange Because I know Bigfoot's been meant to have built their own kind of structures, right? I could see the point of something was maybe built nearby, right? Or there was a strange rock monolith or something like that, a strange rock outcropping or something like that. But just to walk into the woods and go, I'll dig over there and find a skull, that's extremely lucky. That guy should play the Euro Millions, 200 million. Honestly, think about it. There must have been something. I mean, you don't just walk into a woods and the first thing you dig up is a Bigfoot skull. It's ridiculous. You're not that lucky.
It's not like discoveries of that luck, with that much luck, haven't happened before. Let's take the terracotta warriors out of China.
That's yeah.
The only reason they were found, and still being found to this day, is because the farmers happened to dig in the right spot and realized, wait a sec, that's not a rock.
That was there no meant to be a kind of tomb there anyway, nearby?
Oh no, there's a tomb there. I've been to the terracotta warriors. That's why I'm using this example. Right. I met one of the nephews of that farmer.
But that guy, an analogy of what I'm trying to say is, it's like walking into the middle of a desert and finding the Holy Grail. Just digging in the random place and he's found the Holy Grail, right? He's walked into a forest and the first place he's dug, he's found that.
There's a lot of unanswered variables.
I can see the point if there was some weird structures, right? But I don't see any weird structures in this thing. I just see a hole with a skull stuck in it. Look at the views he'll got on that. I mean, what's the views on it already?
I haven't even looked.
I bet it's over 1 million, right?
It probably had a few thousand, just because of the people trying to either debunk it or preach it.
You got to remember there's a lot of this in the paranormal field. There's a lot of people fake things to get things.
Uh-huh.
Right? It's not just Bigfoot, UFOs, it's ghosts. It's odd in this line. People fake it to get it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the mermaid documentary that came out a few years back.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it on like Discovery Channel that they put it out?
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
They even put up like a little website, and if you went onto this website, they said, "Oh, this got flagged by the U.S. government." They gave a bunch of codes of the numerous violations. Blah 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 blah. You actually look up what those codes meant. They were trying to say that something about mermaids was talk of a presidential assassination. I'm serious. I looked it up.
I know. It's look, that mermaid thing was a load of rubbish. I watched 5 minutes of it and I thought, this is shit, and then turned it off. It's the same out there. There's folk out there going on about aliens and stuff like that too, right? There's like, I've got. You ever seen the alien autopsy?
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on that?
That's an interesting one because
it's interesting.
The latest leaks that come out about it are saying that it's legit.
See, that is the problem.
CIA operatives, but it is the CIA.
It is the CIA, and that is the problem now. There's that much fake stuff, and there's that much real stuff together, right? You don't know what's real now.
Sorry.
You don't. Who's that in the chat? Is there any questions in the chat there? What's up, guys? That's Robert.
Robert. Tiffany Reynolds. Oh, yeah. Appalachian Mountains. Tiffany, you should meet our friend Mike the Naked Bigfoot.
Yes. Mike, if you're still in the chat, you should go a holiday to his neck of the woods.
Yeah, and she goes,
Tiffany
also goes, there is more than mermaids. Ireland and Scotland has selkies. Well, yeah, Mr. Scotland over here. Number one. When you go to that part of the world, every single body of water is said to have some sort of creature in it.
Look, it's not just Loch Ness that's meant to have the Loch Ness monster. There's another loch near it that's meant to have a monster in it. Look, I will tell you this about the Loch Ness monster. There might be something there. It's a really deep loch, right? It is a really deep loch, right? There might be something there. There's meant to be like a cave system in it that's meant to run underneath the ground and run out to sea and stuff like that. I don't know if it's there. No, I can't dive, right? I don't know. There could be something there, right? And I think there maybe is something, but I don't think it's like a prehistoric dinosaur.
Oh no,
with a big
not at all.
bendy, the head that comes out. You ever seen the film? You ever seen the film?
Screw that. I've been to Loch Ness. I've
I
seen
know
the
you've been. I've been to Loch Ness there a few times, but it's. What did you see when you seen it? What did you actually see when you seen it, Dakota?
What I saw?
Aye, what you seen?
Was I saw this big gray mass come out of the water. Now, essentially what it was, for those of you who don't know, a lot of the ferry rides that are on Loch Ness have sonar to try to look for any creatures that go under. Here's the thing. A lot of people also don't realize the fish can hear that shit. And some of them seem to have picked up on the fact that, wait a sec, that's coming from humans. Stay away from them.
Yeah.
Now, there was a point where I saw what looked like something big moving around in the water. So I'm snapping pictures. There's a little black speedboat that goes by right in front of these black shapes that I see.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, you have to get high up on the water because Loch Ness, the waters are very murky.
Oh, yeah.
And I was trying to get up into a high enough position to look down because that was going to be my best vantage point. Something cut off one of these large black shapes, and all of a sudden there was this large gray mass that just popped out of the water like that. Yeah. Now, a few weeks later, after I got home from that trip, somebody caught that same image that I saw on camera, much clearer than the pictures I've got.
Yeah, I think there is something there.
A big ass eel.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people think it is. It's a big eel. Yeah.
Oh no, there's footage.
No.
There's video footage of giant fucking eels.
I mean, I can't say yes or no because I'm Scottish, right? And I've got to keep the tourist industry going here.
What the fuck are they gonna do to you?
But I can't deny. I'm not president of Alabama here. I can't deny that it doesn't exist. So I'm just going to say,
whoa,
you know, that's actually interesting for Tiffany there. I was just about to say to you about that.
My grandpa saw the Mothman a week before the bridge collapse. He believes the cryptids are guardians and often seen before tragedies, giving warnings to humans. Well,
see that's the case.
That's hard to say.
That case is interesting because there was a lot of people witnessed that.
And the fact that there were Men in Black reports as well afterwards.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And Mothman is recognized by MUFON as a potential extraterrestrial species.
It's quite interesting how he turns up or him or her, I don't know if it's a he or it's a she, but it's quite interesting. It always turns up at a location where there's something terrible that's going to happen or is waiting to happen.
I was like, allegedly there were Mothman sightings before the Japanese tsunami.
Yep. That's
or something very similar to it.
There was UFOs seen above the Fukushima plant a couple of days before the earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder: is it a harbinger of doom, or is it an alien for a different time traveler coming back to see events that happened in the Earth? You know, there's so much strange stuff out there. It's going back to Loch Ness, right? See, Loch Ness isn't the only place in Scotland that's meant to have a weird creature in it. There's meant to be 3 or 4 lochs in Scotland that's got strange creatures. The thing about Loch Ness is, right, it's a very deep loch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a bit, there was a bit at the side and you can actually look over and it's jet black, the water. And that usually means it's very deep. Mm-hmm. So it makes you wonder what is down there, looming in the darkness, waiting for an unsuspecting swimmer.
Well, there's at least one alleged Loch Ness attack, so.
Yeah.
And that was one of the very first sightings.
Yeah. I find the Mothman very interesting, though. I find that did we do a video on that? We did a live one night about that.
Yeah, that's how we met Ken, remember?
That's right. And I mean, the Mothman, it's very intriguing. I do think it's extraterrestrial connection on it because there's too much cases where there's been UFOs spotted at the same time. That may be obviously a ship or whatever.
There's alleged
Men in Black.
abductions.
Yeah, the Men in Black makes you wonder: are they after the Mothman or Mothwoman, or are they trying to cover up the tracks of that entity?
Or is it something, or is Men in Black, or some variation of it, because it looks like there's like at least 3 different varieties based on eyewitness reports. Is there ones that just catalog potential visitations? They're, basically paranormal investigators who have good hookups type thing? Is it a suppression effort, or is it actual reptilians? Because Elena's book, she talks about the Men in Black and that they're reptilians that are looking to suppress this type of information.
Right, but here's the thing about the Mothman. The Mothman flies about. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a reptilian of some kind that can fly about. I don't know. I mean, there is reports winged extraterrestrials out there, right? So it makes you wonder if they. I do believe there is something to do with time travel in this, because if you think about it, how do they know that that's going to happen? How do they know that's going to happen? It's not as, I'm sensing an earthquake coming, like that kind of thing. They know that's going to happen. It's as if they're coming back to witness an event that takes place. What else is it? My grandpa lived in a small town in West Virginia where the Mothman was sighted.
Point Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant, yeah. So there you go. So what other
you never know who you're going to meet.
So, what other strange creatures do you want to talk about tonight?
All
we
right.
might as well have got half an hour nod left, so we might as well.
I don't know. Let's kind of shift to still in kind of a doomsday scenario. Let's talk about the other big weird thing that's everybody seems to be talking about. Georgia Guidestones.
That is very interesting. That is extremely interesting. Who blew that up? And then they demolished it. I mean, there was still 3. There was 1, 2, 3, 4. There was still 4 pillars left, I think.
Only one pillar got hit down by the bomb. But
and then the next day, they just knocked the whole thing down.
Well, yeah, they cited safety concerns. Well, yeah.
I mean, it was meant to last a doomsday. It didn't last a sticky dynamite.
I don't know. I'd be interested to see what kind of charges that this person tried to use.
But what? See the way it's all broken up. It looks like they've drilled into it. Because I looked at the photos of it. If you stuck an explosive, I'm not an explosive expert by the way, but if you stuck an explosive on the outside of that, it wouldn't have done much damage. Because let's face it, those things are huge, right? They would have had to physically drill a hole into those Georgia Guidestones, pack it, put a detonator on it, and then obviously set it off at safe distance. I think there's more to this story than meets the eye. I think there's something going on here. There's something that's... I think there's more to this, and I think there's more things going to happen associated with this. What's your thoughts on it, Dakota?
Yeah, Tiffany actually makes a good point. They're actually calling it a terrorist threat.
Yeah. But why would you want to do that? I mean...
Well, here's the thing. I've actually studied terrorism at The Hague, which is one of the biggest centers in the world in regards to that.
Right.
Inciting terror, I could see where they would get that. And obviously, because of how big those slabs were, just a regular stick of dynamite ain't going to do much besides get a little soot on the damn thing. Make it a little hot.
They've had to use military-grade explosives.
Here's the thing. A lot of these terrorist groups, they actually send out magazines with step-by-step instructions
Yes,
on how to make explosives with common household devices. I'm explaining for the household audience. Now, for those of you who are freaking out that I know stuff about bombs, first off, you got to remember, I grew up around law enforcement. Dead bodies and bombings and I was getting text alerts that the mountains near me were caught on fire just before we came on. So I messed up shit. That's just my life. Anyway.
I mean, on my all honesty, I've looked at all the photos, the high resolution photos there, right? It looks like someone has took their time at the site. It took them a while. It took them a time to do that. They've had to drill into it for a start. And I think they have used military grade. I think they've used C4. They've used something. They've used like C4 plastic explosives. I know quite a lot about this stuff because I do watch a lot of it on TV. Normal fertilizer stuff that terrorists use would not have done the damage. They would have needed a hang of a lot of it. A hang of a lot of it. Pardon me.
Not if you hit it right.
No, if you hit it right. But do you know... What do we know about the man that put it up, or the people that put it up?
Nothing.
See, that's the thing.
Last I checked. Here's the thing. Here's what I don't get. They have footage of it blowing up. They have footage of a potential getaway car.
Right.
But nothing in between. This would have had to take planning. This would have had to take someone who actually knew how to deal with explosives. You're possibly looking at somebody with military expertise.
Yeah. I mean, they've got footage of it blowing up. They've got footage of the car driving a bit, but where's the footage of the guy drilling the hole in the side of the stone? And
those
prepping it with explosives?
Those stones would be big enough to provide enough cover.
I think there's something more. There's something going on. I think there's... I mean, what did it actually say in the Georgia Guidestones? I've read it, but I can't remember what it said. It was keep the population below 500 million, right? What else did it say?
The short term, without trying to recite it word for word, was that there were instructions in, I believe, 12 different languages. Don't quote me exactly, because that doesn't feel right, on how to recover the population from a major disaster, potentially apocalyptic.
I did hear a tale. Now, I don't know if this tale is true or not. Maybe someone in the chat can help. Maybe you can help. I don't know. That underneath where the Georgia Guidestones are, there was meant to be a time capsule. And in that time capsule, there was meant to be something that would help humanity. It just makes you wonder, was it did deliberately so that they could get to what was in that time capsule? Because that's about it. You couldn't get to that without removing the stones. Now they're not there.
Unfortunately, that's one of those things where I would not be able to give a full analysis, an observation about it, without catching a flight to Georgia. Now, granted, I got family down there, so...
But think about it. What would be so important to be buried underneath them? Because they say if it was there, the only way you could get to that time capsule was by moving those stones. What happens if whoever set it off, exploded it, that was used as a way to knock the rest of it down? They say, oh, it's unsafe, and we'll knock the rest of it down, and then through the night, someone goes out there with a JCB and digs it up. What's so special it would have been in that? It makes you wonder what was in that.
Now, the other part of this, we may also have to look at potential religious zealots due to the fact of a number of people trying to claim that the Georgia Guidestones were satanic.
I don't believe they were satanic. I think there's a lot of ideas who they belong to. I mean, there's ideas out there that they belong to. Is it the Rosicrucians? It belonged to them. They're no satanic for a start.
Yeah, but then again, this is Georgia we're talking about. They think a fart is satanic.
That's very true. What's this here? The world has gotten more What's that? Psychotic afterlife. Honestly, I mean, you think of the crazy stuff that's happening right now around the world. You look at that, the ex-Japanese Prime Minister was assassinated yesterday. I mean, it's...
Here's the thing. Well, you also have the Demon Stone in Japan that cracked a couple years back. But here's my honest belief. When it comes to our observation of the world seemingly getting more chaotic, and I find it convenient that my voice all of a sudden got deeper. But we'll run with it. We'll run with it because it makes it sound cooler.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is my full belief that what we are observing in the world now has always been going on and will only continue to get worse because we have chosen to ignore the consequences of those actions for so long. They are now boiling over to a point it cannot be stopped without some sort of cataclysm wiping the slate clean.
Yes.
In which,
I think,
allegedly, we are in a 7-year period for apocalypse to which we will see the real meaning of Judgment Day.
See, that's it's weird you should say that because I was watching something last night, and there's so much going on right now. I mean, you look what's happening in Europe right now, Ukraine, right? Mm-hmm. You look what's happening right now with China, Taiwan, right? You look what's happening in the United States now, all these riots and all these killings and all these the madness. I'm just going to call it the madness. Look what's happening to the UK. It's falling apart. Scotland's want to leave England. Ireland's want to leave Ireland. It's going ridiculous, right? The price of everything's going up. The price of oil's shooting down, but everything's still going up. I think we're at a moment where there's either got to be a third world war, which we're in. A lot of people don't realise that, but we are actually in a third world war right now. I don't want to scare them, but we are in the third world war. It's happening right now. I think in the coming years, I think there's going to be a war, and I think it's going. You notice, right? This is. You notice to find this World War II. What happened after World War II? Before World War II, there was a depression in the United States. Think about it, right? The world was running out of money. Germany was running out of money. I watched a thing tonight. In 1932, in Germany, just after round about then, how much do you think it was for a loaf of bread? 1 trillion francs. I shit you not, right? Because their inflation was out of control, because their economy was gone, right? Along came this guy, Hitler, right? Built everything up. What happened after World War II to America in the West?
Prosperity.
Think about it. Prosperity. Everything get better. The American dream come true. Everything. You just need to look at old films. Everybody had money. Everybody was buying stuff, right? What happens if another war comes along? Say there's some nuclear weapons used, right? Say there's maybe 10 used, right? Say the world's plunged into a small ice age because of a nuclear war, because that's what will happen, right? Mm-hmm. Say the 7 billion people on Earth, 3 billion are dead, right? Eventually, 10 years after that, or depending on how long that war lasts, prosperity will come back, right? Because they'll have to rebuild those cities and they'll need jobs. And that. I think we're on the point of no return. I think you're right. I think the world is coming to an end, but I don't think it's coming to a complete end. I think humans will live on, but I do think a lot of people will die. And that's my honest opinion.
Another factor you have to consider. Yeah. Rising interest rates. It's a common economic trick, for lack of a better word, in order to try to subvert inflation rates. They have been trying it, and they estimate that it's going to go at least 18, 20 more times when they go to try it. Basically, they rise the interest, inflation helps go down. That's it. basic comes in. It's not working. That's another thing. So, powers that be, and this has been proven on several occasions that they have done this, powers that be go to stage what's known as a false flag operation. Or maybe we actually find a legitimate threat. We have something legitimately happen. Because when you think about it, with the World War II, the U.S. initially was going to stay out of it. Then we got bombed at Pearl Harbor.
Yes. Do you know, and this is an actual fact, and people don't actually know this, right? See, before Hitler invaded Poland, 1938, I think it was, who do you think paid Hitler trillions of dollars? Who do you think gave Hitler, where do you think Hitler got all that money for? Do you know where he got it off there? The United States of America. Ford was one of them. There was General Motors, there was Ford, there was other billionaires in the United States that gave Hitler money to build his weapons, and the reason they were doing it because Hitler was against communism, right? And so was America, and so was Britain, and so was the rest. And America and Britain thought that Hitler would only go after communism, right? But it backfired. He attacked Poland, then he attacked France. And before you knew it, the world was at war, right? Yeah. And that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening over there right now.
Let's go for an example that would be in recent memory that most of our audience would likely have been alive for. Let's consider the wars in the Middle East. Everybody, with this Russia-Ukraine situation, everybody was freaking out because even the Taliban were saying to the Russians, stop. This is not what you want to do. What a lot of people don't realize is that during times of World War II, around that time period, the United States was training Al-Qaeda. We had direct lines with Osama bin Laden himself. And it was an operation that they knew had a high chance of backfiring. And look what happened.
How about just look at when the Russians invaded, it was, the Americans, not just the Americans, the British were doing it we're training them, like you say. You need to be very careful when you talk about this kind of stuff, because there's a lot of shadowy things happening all around the world right now. Afghanistan, the war with Afghanistan and Russia, right? The reason the Afghanistans bet them is because the Americans were giving them guns and weapons and explosives, anti-tank weapons. Look what's happening right now. Look what's happening right now in Europe. There's more going on what you think, and this has got a lot to do with the paranormal and UFO side of stuff, because it also turns people's eyes. It also turns you away from certain things that are happening in the world. Did anything come out of that time traveller guy, by the way? Remember, you were talking about it. Did nothing happen?
Yeah, the day that he said that something was going to happen, they fired off CERN.
They fired off CERN.
That's about it.
Do you not find that funny? Do you not find that strange?
I don't like jumping into assuming every little thing we talk about on these shows is, if anybody hasn't figured that out, but you're not paying attention.
Yeah. What's that?
Highly skeptical.
What's your thought? I know we're going to be talking about the same thing tomorrow, so we'll keep that till tomorrow, because we are going to be doing a special on that, guys. Now, question, guys. YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, please check your bells, right? Because the bells, YouTube put an update out the other day. They are unticking everyone's bells, right? So that's why we're not getting notified on YouTube. We're notified everybody else, but we're just not getting notified on YouTube. So Dakota, do
Yeah.
you not have any news? Do you not have any like exciting news that you want to tell us?
I was going to save some stuff for later, but let's
Would you want to say
focus on
something
the YouTube thing we're doing.
Hmm?
Before, because I'm sure taking someone's bells is some sort of euphemism in some circles.
Yes.
The little notification bell in the corner, you got to check that because we have separate accounts to help manage a lot of our operations. And we noticed when we went to go check those, the bells were not marked. And it's not just YouTube that's done it. Facebook's been caught doing it, Instagram, Twitter, even. That's why, and this is how we'll segue into the news. That is why we have also made it an active effort to share our episodes out in as many different platforms as possible, with having just expanded to now 63 different destinations where you can catch our shows either in video or audio format. Because we figured, well, we wanted to get our message out to as many people as possible, and we have even more potentially on the horizon, but it will take a lot more prep work in order to get done.
Oh, yeah.
Nevertheless.
I must admit, Dakota, you do an amazing job, honestly. I don't know how you do it. Staying up all night, probably. You know?
Well, yeah, because I work at a night job that I have to go in at midnight for, so...
Yeah. It's amazing how deep your voices go. You ever thought of becoming like one of these singers? Is it one of the tenors that they call it?
Yeah, let's just say when this voice comes out, there's a lot of women that say I should keep it.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. So we've also got a store too, guys. We've also got Dakota's got his online store now, you know, from Bald and Bonkers, and you can buy many interesting things in there. That's what I'm going to say there. You can buy many interesting things in the store. And it's actually quite good. You can buy flashlights. You can buy drones. You can buy lots of stuff. Lingerie. If that's what you're in. Honestly, it wasn't my idea. If you want to complain, please send us. Do we actually have an email where people can complain to? Because I think we should get one, you know, because you're going to get that. You're going to get people saying, I'm not very happy because Dakota has a bald head, and I like it when people have hair.
You know what? I'm going to say this, because there's been some remarks.
What's that?
I will also want to say something else, and it does kind of fit in with our topic for tonight. New toys coming soon. Oh, God, Sherry.
Sherry. That's that.
Sherry, back off!
That's terrible.
Bad girl now.
She's talking about the drones. She's into drones, guys. Where do you go?
Anyway. Oh, right. You have to realize that not everything you see in your screen right now is what's going on in the world. Whether it is with world events, whether it is people you follow online, do not make that mistake. It is easy to hide behind the screen. And so many people try to utilize that to spread hateful and downright sadistic remarks. And quite frankly, it's also why they say, if anybody doesn't bother to show their face on social media, get rid of them.
Yeah. The stuff in the paranormal field, and I want to say this, do you see the stuff in the paranormal field with all this drama? Come on, guys. Seriously. Stop it. Do you know I've unfriended so many people on Facebook through the paranormal field because it's just, I just can't be arsed with it. I look at it and I think,
I will say this.
It's madness.
I will say this, and I think that just about anybody who actually has a legitimate interest in this field will probably have experienced the same thing. I have yet to meet someone who hasn't. We all had issues with bullying as children. We were often targets. I was, because I was a little weird in the head. I was also about a foot taller than most of my class, so that whole thing about you never want to be bullied, go up to the biggest person you can find and sock them. Well, what am I supposed to do when I was the biggest person? Punch a teacher?
Yeah. It's
Nevertheless,
actually when you go to Dakota, sorry. You go.
I was just going to say, you didn't like it when you were targeted as a child by bullies. Why do you allow yourself as an adult, fully capable of controlling any and all interactions? Because most of you aren't even interact with people you see on a day-to-day basis when this happens.
I know. It's madness.
Why do you
madness.
allow it to happen? Why do you allow yourself to act like the same children who targeted you?
No. It's like the thing that is that, and I'm not going on at MD here, but guys, it's giving you a really bad name. It really is giving you a bad name. I mean, I'm friends with people. I'm friends with quite big ghost hunting people, and I'm talking to us about it. And I would say it's damaging the paranormal field, and that's why I now MD evolved in the drama. I do not. I'm sorry, I can't watch your stuff. I'll still support yous and share yous out and stuff like that. But see when you start on about the drama, guys, come on.
I'm going to say this because I know that there's been some remarks about us.
Oh boy, it was getting remarks.
No, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to once again refer back to my earlier remark. Just because you see us, watch us on YouTube, doesn't mean you know shit about us, all right? Doesn't mean you know shit about anybody. Chris here could be a serial killer for all I know.
I know.
Yet, he's someone I consider a brother. Yet, he's someone I consider my brother. There's a lot I may not know, and who knows? I will say that. And yes, when going back to another earlier remark where I said a lot of us dealt with a lot of trauma, and that is what led us down this path involving the strange. And some people tend to start believing the hype and develop what they call an ego. Now, they may have not found a way to ground themselves. That is quite possible. I know damn well I'm guilty of it sometimes. But stop assuming you know everything. Stop looking for excuses to constantly bitch like a bunch of either little old kids or a bunch of worthless old ladies who think that just because you're walking fucking dinosaurs means you know better.
Yeah, it's no that. It's just I'll see it on Facebook, right? And I'll see two parties at it. One will start picking on the other, right? Picking on the other, right? And then they'll retaliate, and then they'll retaliate, and then they'll retaliate. Don't do it, because you're just destroying. You're not destroying you maybe are destroying your own reputation, but you're destroying other reputations in the community. People that have no even went into the drama, right? They're getting a bad name. They're like, oh, that's the paranormal field. You've got to stay away from the paranormal field. A lot of drama in the paranormal field. You have no idea how many people have said that to me that don't do the paranormal, they do UFO stuff. And they're like, oh, we don't do the ghost stuff. A lot of drama in the ghost stuff. That's what they say to me.
There's a lot of drama in the UFO.
Well, I know. There's loads. But I would say there's about 90% more in the paranormal field. Everybody, please, just go on together. Stop fighting with each other.
No, I'm going to say this before certain parties try to call us hypocritical pricks. Yes, we've snapped off.
Oh, yeah.
We're human, okay?
We've learned.
We're trying to learn, and we're trying to step away. There's certain people that we've considered friends that we purposely walked away from because we got tired of it, and it was not worth spending any. It's not like we're going to be losing any more hair off of this shit, but nevertheless.
I'll admit it to you, right? I'll admit it. And a couple of weeks ago, we had some falling out, some people and stuff like that. But we've sorted it all now. And that's why I'm just going to avoid this drama. I'll still support these, I'll still share these out, and I'll still talk to these and stuff like that. But guys, come on. Stop fighting with each other and just get on with life. It's too short.
And I do want to say, because we did kind of make fun of our intended guest earlier tonight, who actually just messaged me a while ago. Apparently the guy's sick and overslept.
You fell asleep. I've not checked my phone yet. But it's okay. We'll reschedule it with you.
Yeah, we'll
fit you in
reschedule.
a
Thank
month's
you for
time
telling
or
us what happened. That's all we'll say.
What's that in the chat? Hey, Mittens, I've not seen you for some time, my friend. I think I seen you in a stream the other night. This is what I mean. Please, guys, remember and check the little bell icon on YouTube and Facebook, because YouTube done a kind of update the other day. But guys, seriously, when it comes to drama in the paranormal field and UFO field, stop bickering. Just work together, you know? You know?
You know, it's like what Dave Schrader said.
Yeah.
I'll say it. The discovery of life outside of planet Earth, the discovery of life after death, those would completely revolutionize everything we know about. And perhaps that's the source of some of this ego, where people are trying to outdo one another.
Yeah.
First off, there are so many moving factors here that not one person can think of everything. We need to stop that mentality.
Yeah. We need to work all together in this field. I mean,
the more we actually work to check each other, the more we actually, try to make sure we are doing the right thing, and not just for ourselves, not just for the progress of the community, but for those who may come to us for help.
Yeah.
We can do a lot more by working together than just constantly firing up, because there's already enough people who, I'm going to say it, bastardized the entire community because of their actions. And I'm talking about the people that constantly cause drama, the purposeful fake, or that don't admit that do it for entertainment purposes. We'll make that distinction right now, because there's some good people out there who do it for entertainment, but also make it known.
Yeah. There's some absolutely amazing YouTubers out there in the paranormal side and UFO side of stuff. And honestly, guys, see if he's a fell out with somebody, just so listen, I'm sorry. And that person will say sorry to you. And just work together. That's what I hate. I mean, I'm happy. I've got 8 people. We've got 8 people or 9 people, 10 people watching us, right? And we've got how many people on Facebook, right? And then we'll upload this and we'll get thousands of views on that, which I think is absolutely phenomenal, right? Mm-hmm. And we're getting to meet, I've got to mention his name again, Dave Schrader. See what I mean? Oh, come on, the guy's awesome. See what I mean? But listen, I never thought I would get to meet these people. And it's happening. And you guys in the community out there that are trying, but using drama to try and get subscribers, which doesn't help. If you just try, it'll happen for you. Honestly, it will.
I was going to say this, and we've seen it within our ranks with all the Bonkers. We finally sorted drama out, finally got it over with, and said, you know what, probably best we part ways. Wasn't exactly handled the best way, but we're past that. So those of you who go to stalk us trying to find evidence, get a life.
Yeah,
we've been able to prosper a hell of a lot more because we didn't have to step back because something new was going on. Now, granted, say Sherry was ill, or Chris started having issues, or I was going to wait till tomorrow to say it. I may have to step away from the show for a little bit because some of you may have noticed. Here, let me.
Yes,
I got to pack up and move.
Or you're not telling them the real reason. The real reason he's going for a hair transplant.
I do not have enough hair on my ass for that. But no, due to some situations in the home life, I am having to move. It's nothing serious, but I may have to step away for a little bit just to make sure I get everything sorted out. So you see me disappear. It's not just because he listened to the people trying to say, get rid of Dakota.
Yeah. It's Dakota's moving house, ladies and gentlemen. It's been in the plans for a long time. And don't worry, I'll still be doing the shows if he can't make it. And I might even pick one of my friends to even co-host with me. You never know. Okay? It's no hard co-hosting. He does all the talking.
I do all the talking? Oh, fuck. Earthquake!
Terrible. You know, I know. Earthquake. So, Dakota, tomorrow night we're talking about the Hadron Collider and the Mandela Effect, you know, and many interesting things. And who's joining us tomorrow, Dakota? Who's got to be the third guy with us tomorrow?
Oh, we actually have a third guy? Well,
yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't seem to ever check his and say hello. You know, it's hard to reach out to the guy someday.
He speaks noon again.
But our good friend Drew Ellingsworth McCrae will be joining us as our third host. He is the latest official member of Baldwin Bonkers. And be sure to tune in tomorrow because we may soon have some openings. And you might be able to make a little extra cash. Even when the world's not going to hell, who wouldn't like a little extra money from
Look,
that?
who wouldn't want some money to build your own fallout shelter in your back garden?
That sounds like where I'm from. And I wish I was kidding.
Yeah, I know. The world's went mad, guys. And I would like to thank you all for coming, but please remember and check the bell icon. Remember, check us out on Amazon or Spotify, and I'm not going through the 5 locations.
Yeah, we're now up to 65 locations with more on the horizon. We just recently joined Spreaker. I think it's pronounced Blueberry. We're on there. And a few others. We're growing all the time. There's Red Circle. There'll be a new episode of Curious Case very soon where I try out a little bit of an experiment that went a little sideways. So it'll be interesting because it seems like. Anyway.
And also check out the store. You know, I mean, some of the things that you've been selling in there. I mean, I'm like, wow. I mean, those drones are amazing. Honestly, the drones are amazing, and the electrical equipment's amazing. Sherry loves that store. That's one of Sherry's favourite stores, that is.
Yeah, and Sherry, if you haven't been able to go on there lately, we did just hook up with a new supplier who sells mostly women's clothing. So,
you'll be able to get it. Yeah. So, guys, we'll catch you tomorrow night. And I hope you all have a fantastic Saturday night. I'm going to go and check my lottery now, so if you don't see me tomorrow, I've won the lottery and I've ran away.
Of course you would.
I wouldn't run away.
Me with all the hard work as usual.
I wouldn't. I think you'd make a great butler.
I am not going to be your butler.
How much? Depends on how much I waved in front of you, money-wise. You know, if I gave you $1,000 a week or something like that. What?
Ain't no hoe.
Well, it's terrible, isn't it? Terrible, ladies and gentlemen. Terrible, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, guys, check out the website.
Should we tell them about your fucking OnlyFans?
Well, that's if you want to. I don't know. But listen, guys, I hope you have a lovely Saturday night. And the family I've been watching, my family from Australia especially. See you. Hopefully I'll see you soon again. And everybody, take care. And Dakota, we'll see you all tomorrow, along with me.
Well, yes, we'll see you all tomorrow. Much love. Be safe out there. And Daryl, if you're watching, we'll try to get you rescheduled, man.
Yeah, we'll get you rescheduled.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for at least telling us. We've had people stand us up and not even explain the thing.
Yeah. Catch you later, Daryl. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow night.
See ya.
All right. Come on! Yeah! Here we go! Yeah! 1, 2, 3, 4! Come on! Let's go!
everybody, just a quick message from Bald and Bonkers Network. We would like to remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
Discoveries mankind has ever experienced.
And that is why we bring you the Bald and Bonkers Show.
Baby, you can get on my boat and make it rock, yeah.
What the?
Oh, see you in that bloody text thing. I was sharing those out, and look what he's done. Look what he's done. You change that back here. You can't.
Well, fine. You stay on the bottom where you belong.
I think change my name back because I'm like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I can't reach. I've got wee arms of it. I've got to move my mic every time.
Well, it's not my fault. You like sticking things down your mouth.
Well, Ken, sort of this. Everybody, if you want to sign up to be my new co-host, please message me at Bald and Bonkers, please. Yeah. So how is everybody tonight, guys? We have got an amazing show. We are joined tonight by none other than Drew Ellingsworth, the man himself. Far.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Cool.
About that old, so.
But we're also joined by Dakota, the man, the legend, and the many stories that people say about him.
Hey, that is not my fault. The angry husbands had it coming.
So, Dakota, what's the subject tonight? What's the crazy Sunday subject that we've got tonight?
Well, initially we were going to talk about some of the spooky things that are going on in the world, but we had to pull that out since we had a guest oversleep on us yesterday.
Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible.
Let's go into something else that's going to be a big thing for a lot of circles right now. The Large Hadron Collider.
Oh.
And all these conspiracies saying that it triggers the Mandela effect.
Yes. I mean, for people out there that do not know what the Large Hadron Collider is, ladies and gentlemen, I have prepared a couple of clips, and so has Dakota. But we will get to them soon, right? Were you checking for hair there in case the Mandela effects changed and gave you like an afro or something like that?
Wait a second, I'm just feeling hair right here. What the hell?
The butterfly flaps his wings in Switzerland. Dakota grows hair on his ass.
Aye. So, ladies and gentlemen, people in the podcast, this is what the Hadron Collider looks like. But obviously, the people in the podcast, you'll have to check out the videos to see it. Head over to Bald and Bonkers and check out our TV network where you will be able to see this.
You can see it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. We're now on Rumble.
Look at that. Now that, ladies and
gentlemen. Look at that big butt plug.
I mean, look at that. I mean, honestly. Look at the time and effort. That's just one tiny section of the Hadron Collider. That's That's the bit where they compact the molecules or whatever it is. I don't have a clue what I'm talking about, but it's like talking about the molecules. But here's an interesting one. Look at each one of those. I did look this up. Though each one of those copper plates behind that is a magnet to squeeze the protons away down to the very fine. I mean, that's. What's your thoughts on this, Dakota? What's your thoughts on this?
It's nowhere near as interesting as people try to say it is, unless you're really into particle physics.
That's very true. And let's face it, how many people are into particle physics? That's where we switch to Drew Zellingsworth. Now, Drew, what do you know about particle physics?
I don't know a lot about particle physics. I know a lot of the stories and the rumors and all the underground blah, blah, blah about the Hadron Collider. The fact that if two molecules accidentally collide, it can cause twin black holes at both of our poles. And, then another person says that it'll automatically cause a black hole to form instantaneous. It'll grow out of control there at the collider. It's been running now for what? 3 days, 4 days? We've not died yet, so.
Well, that's the thing. But Dakota, what's your thoughts, my friend? You're the man.
Well, first off, not a lot of people actually realize, well, that was a big orb.
I know.
That these hadron colliders, they make black holes all the time. Small ones. They usually evaporate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't last very long, and if they go to start growing out of control, well, nothing's going to matter anymore because we're all going to turn into long strings of spaghetti.
See, right, that's the thing, right? I mean, somebody thinks, right, they all think that they could create a black hole and the Earth would be sucked into it along with the galaxy and everything else, right? Right? I think what they've been doing in the past, I think they've messed up reality. And this is where we come to the subject, the Mandela effect. And I think Dakota knows quite a lot about this. I don't actually know that much about it, but I know this man here, the man himself, is quite into it.
Well, majority of what we're talking about is actually theoretical. Would be very difficult to prove from a three-dimensional standpoint without physical evidence. Now, we're going to get into this discussion as I was going to try to explain to this one before the show, but you know how he is. There may, in fact, be evidence of something going on. But another thing a lot of people don't know is that there is actually, if I remember correctly, it's called the quantum death theory. That essentially, anytime you're in a near-death experience scenario, you actually did die, but your consciousness transfers over to yet another reality where you survived that incident. That's where some speculate the feeling of deja vu, the psychic impulse that something's about to go wrong, things like that.
So in theory, then if that was the case, you would never really die.
Exactly.
You would live forever. But then obviously you get old. What happens when you get old? You must die.
Really goes into that. It never really goes into that.
I mean, but think about it. I die when I'm 30, so I come back. I die when I'm 40, I come back. But there's only a limit to that. You can only live for so long. So I die when I'm 100.
But the question is, the thing you have to ask yourself is, if temporal dynamics plays into an effect, does time even matter? Will you age? Or will you stay the age you are indefinitely? Or will you age at a much slower rate than what you age now if temporal dynamics plays into an effect?
That's actually quite interesting. Because
Drew is not the idiot people thought he was.
Oh my God, he's the professor. I'm going to call you the naughty professor from now on, Drew. Well, that's actually a good point, because in theory, if there's infinite worlds, infinite Earths, right? right, and you die when you're 60, you could, in theory, be put into the body of a 30-year-old then.
In theory.
So, but then how do you have a near-death experience where people say, oh, I see my family, and I see beautiful cities, and I see this, and I see that, and the angel comes to me and tells me this and that, and I have to go back again? How do you explain that? If that's not tied into it.
Here's a thought. Going back to the, what if you die of old age and you don't move on to another reality?
Yeah.
Who's to say the time we do die,
right,
in this quantum consciousness, in quantum immortality, for lack of a better word, that's when we run out of bodies.
Right.
That's, going into simulation. The universe as we know it is a giant video game. We ran out of lives.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But also to say that the reason why, well, time in itself essentially doesn't matter because it's on a much bigger scale than we are able to process.
Time doesn't really exist. Time's only a man-made.
Yes, it does.
You're saying
but the
you're
concept
saying time
is
exists.
linear.
That's
the
what I'm
concept you're
trying
trying to talk about is linear. Saying
Yeah.
that it's like saying that the river doesn't exist because the fish ended up in the ocean.
Right. Well, no, but when you think about it, right, if you had an empty party space, right, with no planets, nothing, just nothingness, right, what makes the time in that nothingness? What makes the time in that nothingness?
Time is a measurement of change in which the universe performs. It's still there. It just has nothing obstructing it.
Okay. Drew, what's your thoughts? I'm waiting for some.
See, this is why I want to try to get Neil deGrasse Tyson on.
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. Once again, we're going to fall back in to linear time, linear displacement, things like that. And it's really ironic we're talking about this because the wife and I both sat down last night and watched the latest episode of The Orville. And it was about, time displacement, traveling through time, stuff like that. And you're always going to have time. Even in warp theory, they say that you can only slow down time by moving at the speed of light. But at nowhere do they say you can stop time or reverse time. So
yeah. I mean, that's interesting because that's weird because I was watching something last night that were talking about flying at the speed of light. It's actually time travel. Because it was the astronauts, when they come back, their clocks would be actually faster. When they come back, it's the same with fighter pilots and stuff. The faster you go, if you were in a ship going at the speed of light, for you, no much time would pass. But for somebody watching you, time would go quite fast.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm trying to say there?
That's done this experiment on twins.
Right. Right. But see, here's the thing. Going back to the Hadron Collider, that's what they're doing, right? They're spinning it round, right? That's what they're doing. They're spinning it and they're spinning it and spinning it and spinning it and spinning it. And it's getting faster and it's getting faster and it's getting faster. And they're finding these new particles. Now, what was it? It was the Higgs boson. That was the first one they found, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first one. Yep. Which is meant to be the building block of the universe, so they say. Right. But they found, and this, since it's been turned on, they've found another 3 new, what is it? I told you earlier, I'll need to look that up. Was it 3 new particles, subtonic particles that they found? That they've actually found.
We expected.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? This is the interest bit. How did that machine create the Mandela effect? How did it cause it? What's your thoughts, Dakota? What is your thoughts on this?
again, I think it's over-exaggerated in people wanting to try to sound more intelligent than they actually are 90% of the time. Essentially, this also goes into the idea that the nuclear test back in the 1940s resulted in the Roswell crash. Everything affects the motion. And let's go back to the earlier example of river meets ocean. If something's moving fast enough in the water, everything else is going to feel it around it, ideally. Then again, you have these UFO craft that seem to go without any obstruction, but that's an entirely different discussion.
Yeah.
But it's right. Let's jump on the Mandela effect, right? Let's just jump on it. Dakota, do you want to show your one first, or will I show one of my pictures first? Now,
Let's show your boring ones first, because
I'll show
mine has a lot more evidence.
Right. First, I'm going to ask Drew. Drew, what was the colour of the A-Team van? What is the colour of the A-Team van?
What was the color of what?
The A-Team van. For the younger generation, it was a TVC.
The A-Team van was a black Chevy van with a red stripe that went from the front bumper up to the back, over the fin, and then back down the other side.
Right. I'm going to blow your mind here. This is what they say it looks like, and they say they've never changed they say they've never changed it. This is what it looks like. I can always remember it being black and red. Black with a red stripe. Prepare yourself for this. Here we go. That's what they say it looks like now. Grey, red, and black. It was never like that. But that's my opinion. What do you think, Drew?
I am going to pull up a picture of it as it was in the 80s right now. See.
But that's what I did. That's what I did, and that came up. That's what came up.
I am showing an all black with red stripes. I am showing black and gray.
Yep. But if you go to the series, the TV series, and watch the TV series, that's what you see. You see a grey with a red stripe and black.
Yeah, I'm seeing an array of pictures here. I'm seeing everything from silver, red, and black to black, red, and gunmetal gray to flat black, red, and metallic black.
Yeah, well, I can clearly look. I'm 40. I'll be 41 in about a month's time, right?
You're
I can remember watching that. I'm still a baby compared to this one here, right?
Compared to me,
right?
Well, you ain't talking about me.
I can clearly remember a black van with a red stripe. That's what was on TV. What about the guys in the chat? Guys, any of you old enough to remember the A-Team van? But they've changed it now, even with the new movie. The new A-Team van movie is now grey, red, and black. And if you go back and look, all the old footage, all the programs are all grey, red, and black. I can remember it. Black, red, black. Right? There is something going on. There's something. It's either something's happened to me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody's whacked me over the head or something like that. What's that? There were a few different colours combos for the A-Team van. But I can always remember. See, that's the thing, right? This is going back to me. I can always remember it being black with a red stripe. So maybe I've been placed into this dimension. Maybe this isn't my real dimension for me. So there you go, red and black. So it makes you wonder. So Dakota, what's yours? Do share.
Oh, mine? I was going to say some thoughts on this situation. First off, it wouldn't be much for old TVs to distort the colors. And for productions like that, chances are they would have more than one van on standby in case that
Oh, they
happened.
destroyed multiple vans. That's the truth, right? That
And
is
this
the
was
truth.
way before anybody gave a shit about continuity,
Yeah.
or way before anybody even
It
thought
was
about
like the Dukes
streaming
of Hazzard.
options.
It was like the Dukes
Exactly.
of Hazzard. The Dukes of Hazzard car. Everybody thinks that thing's done millions of jumps. No, and every series they went through about 20 cars. That's what people don't realise. Jumping over bridges and breaking suspension. A car can't survive that unless it's already plated. Even at that, they went through the cars. Yeah, I'd fully admit. But what I'm saying is, me and others that I know, we've all talked about this, and they can only remember it being black and red. Yes, you're saying old TV screens, but you can actually watch repeats now in high quality, but they're grey, red, and black. But I see what you're saying. I see where you're going with this. Right? I see where you're going with this. Obviously, when I watched it, it was the ginormous TV with the wee screen.
Yeah.
Made a buzzing noise, and you had to get up and press the buttons on the side. But there you go.
I don't know what technology was like in Scotland 30 years ago, but here we had a wooden panel TV with like a 16-inch screen. Hell, my monitor's bigger than our old TV screen.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, you didn't see crap on them back then.
But there's a couple of other ones. But I'm going to let Dakota talk about this one because I don't have a clue what it is because I never researched it. But
Well,
I find it interesting.
You wouldn't think to look at this particular one.
No.
Because I wouldn't take you for a Pokemon guy.
Yeah, that one you go. I'm not
Right.
a Pokemon guy.
So, first off, let's establish the backstory behind this, because this is probably one of the few examples that actually has evidence behind it. And do we have any younger people in here that have played Pokemon, so I not feel like I'm surrounded by a bunch of old dudes?
Is there anybody there? Oh dear, I'm an old man.
So there's a website called 4chan that doesn't, I'm going to need to make this note, it does not track your IP. So it leads to a lot of shady shit. There was this one guy who posted on there a little bit of a little contest to draw your favorite Pokemon character from memory without any sort of reference. All of a sudden, this guy posts this blue and yellow blob looking thing, right? I'm going to bring up the picture now. And he swears up and down this was real Pokemon. Now, I haven't played some of the recent generations, but this never came out. Now, obviously, this guy got made fun of because nobody remembered it. However, this is the part where it gets interesting. It would have been 1999 when, in Japan, exclusively, the betas for the Pokemon Gold and Silver games would have come out in test mode for an event there. Only a very select few people would have known about this. And I'm just putting that out there because those beta models didn't get leaked out onto the internet until a few years back. People having way too much time on their hands went through the programming and found this image on the left. This was a Pokemon design that never made it into the final game. And someone took the colors from the drawing, applied it to the character model. There's a little too much detail there. This was supposed to be released, but got cut. Maybe it'll be included in newer games. But again, no one should have been able to see this besides anyone inside of Nintendo, who is one of the most secretive companies out there. No one would have seen this at that gaming event back in '99 because it was not available.
That's spectacular.
Exactly. So how did this guy know? And because that website doesn't track their users, there's no way to find out if he happened to work at Nintendo at the time.
That is a good one, by the way. See when you showed us that, I didn't even know that was Pokemon. That just shows you what I know about Pokemon.
Well, that was
I've
never
seen the movie,
released. The video that brought this to my attention is there's a link to it in the description if anybody wants to check it out. But nevertheless, there's evidence to it.
Back here a couple years ago, when I was still, trying to drop the weight, everything after, the diabetes thing hit, I used to play Pokemon Go. And every place we went, I had my phone, I had it turned on, and I was hunting Pokemon. And I wish that game actually showed you all the available Pokemon that were out there. There's 600 some odd Pokemon in that game, but they only show you like 60 or 70 as you break each level point. That's one of the reasons why yes.
Yeah, it's up to 890 official Pokemon now, but that particular one was never officially released to the public.
I must have lived in a cave, because I never played it. I'll admit that. I never played it. But I find that quite spooky, that actually. I do find that spooky.
Exactly.
It's a very interesting one. That I'm going to look more into that, because that's actually.
Because the only way he would have known that thing existed is if he happened to work at Nintendo. That's the only way.
Wow.
That is strange. I mean, what was it? There's Dobie Shock. What was that? When I was a kid, it was Andy Pandy and the Wooden Tops. There you go. I mean, there's that many. There's the Ford badge, right? I can always remember the Ford badge had a wee. Was it a pigtail it had? But there's people out there that say it didn't have that. But then there's people that say that they did have it. And Ford said they never changed it. But here's another one that I didn't want to bring up the picture of, because I don't know if it'd be copyrighted or not. Andy here a Star Wars fan? You're a Star Wars fan, Dakota?
Not really, but I know what one you're talking about.
I'm not talking about Darth Vader when he says, "Look, I am your father." I'm not talking about that one. It's another one. 3PO. What colour was it?
Gold with the silver leg.
Right. That's what you remember. But I can clearly remember, me again, obviously. Does Andy in the chat remember 3PO all gold, not with a silver leg? What about you, Drew? What do you remember 3PO like?
Well, I did grow up a big Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 9 years old when the originals came out, and I remember 3PO being, well, at least on the toy form, I remember him being all gold. In the movies, only a few times could you actually see that his leg was silver. If you remember right, they only shot his full body a few times.
That's
Mostly
right.
it was from the pelvis up.
And I will say about video quality then and now. Obviously, it's a lot better with 4K and 8K and such. But I had, and I wish I still had it, I had the full set of characters. And they were the right ones, and I wish I'd kept them, because they'd be worth a fortune. They were just that. But I had the 3PO one, and it was all gold. Right? And I actually looked up, and they never changed it. They said they've never changed 3PO. Maybe, I don't know if it was a manufacturing error. But I can remember when I was young, just a kid, watching Star Wars, and I can remember him being all gold. But you see, this is the thing. maybe I've come into this reality. Maybe Drew's for this reality, Dakota's from this reality, but I'm not for this reality. See where I'm trying to go here, guys? It's like people in the chat. It's like we've all swapped different realms. What's that in the chat there? Anyway. Hey, Mike. Good to see you, my friend. See, there you go. There's Mike, the naked Bigfoot, right? He remembers him being all gold. Which is an interesting one because there's a lot of people do the Mandela effect on YouTube, as we know, and a lot of people are convinced, older people, that he was all gold. He didn't have a silver leg.
I think in the newer versions they released here about a decade ago or a little longer. I think in those the remasters, I believe they showed him actually having that silver leg because they updated their their effects and the technology, of course, in the last 40 plus years. But I believe in the remastered ones, you actually can tell that leg is silver. I've not watched them in a while, so I honestly don't remember.
Well, every time I watch them now, or the remastered ones in 4K, he's got a silver leg. But I can always remember him being all gold. Always. And that's the thing. I might not be for this reality. Maybe a part of me has been changed. That's the thing. It's my perception. See, there's Mike. He can remember him being all gold. But maybe it was the video quality at the time. Maybe it was the TV quality at the time. Dakota?
The only other thing that I have to go for, you try to use the example, maybe I'm from this reality. You also got to remember, I would have came around right as those would start getting remastered compared to 40 years ago.
That's the problem. Yeah.
So, being that there's hardly any shots full body in the earlier films, your mind would have just likely filled in the blank. You would have thought, oh, if he's gold up here, chances are he's gold down there, type thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually looking at a picture here from, do we have a date here? Do we have a date? I think this is from one of the remakes. Possibly 2015 is the when this picture was put on the internet. And it shows C-3PO and R2-D2 standing side by side on Tatooine. And his lower right leg, from the knee down, the knee joint, all the way down to his foot is silver. And everything else is gold. But if you go back and you look at, where's it at? Wookie, I gotta type this out.
Wikipedia. I didn't know there was such a thing, but there you go.
Oh, wow. Shit. Hold on.
Wow, I need to look that place up. Wikipedia.
Oh, that just sounded like you found something dirty.
Well, there you go. You'll be able to put it on the Bonkers online store.
Oh, you just love library collection, don't you?
Yeah, if you look on Wikipedia, it shows him being all gold. So, again, did they do that by accident? Did they purposely change that?
I'll need to look that one up because it's always that's been one of the top myths that he was all gold, and then one day he had a silver leg. There's that many. I mean, there's what is it? The Bernstein Bears. That's an interesting one. I don't really know that much about that one. I've heard about it. It's more an American book. That it's not a really British book. It's Bernstein Bears. But then there's the Kennedy one, which I showed to Wendy. I knew a friend of mine. He's actually dead now, but he was in his 80s, and I says to him, "Can you remember the Kennedy assassination?" "Oh, I remember it clear." And he told us what it was like. He says the car came down the street, President Kennedy, his wife, the bodyguard, and the driver. Right? But that's not what reality says. The reality says it was President Kennedy, his wife, and was it the governor and his wife, and the bodyguard, and the driver, which is. Tell us what you think, guys. Can you remember it being a 4-seater, or can you remember it being a 6-seater? What's your opinion? What do you think it is, guys? Because I remember at the school, and this has gone back to the early 1996, I remember researching this, and I can clearly remember there was only 4 people in the car. And now it's changed. Ever since our friends at the Hadron Collider have had playtime. Which I find very strange. What's your thoughts on that, Drew? On the Kennedy
I'm
assassination?
actually sitting here right now looking at all the photos. And from one angle, it does look like there's only 4 people in the car, but it was actually a 4-door stretch.
Yes.
So you had the guard, the bodyguard, and the driver up front, and then right directly behind them, behind the center bar, is 2 more seats, and they are facing forward also, and then behind them, behind the back door, is where Jackie Kennedy and John were sitting at. But from the other angle, where he is right before he's shot, they actually show him looking out the passenger side and smiling at people with his arm up on the side of the quarter panel. And it only looks like there's 4 seats there.
Yeah.
So what's my views on the Kennedy assassination? Well, I don't care to disappear anytime soon, so I'm going to keep my opinions to myself on that one.
That'll be fine. That'll be fine.
I think the magic bullet.
was a fan, man.
I think the magic bullet was the most incredible engineering feat by modern man. And any time I say anytime the government wants to spend the money producing bullets that weave and dodge and change their angle and everything, I say go for it, man. It's going to come in really, really handy.
Yeah. We may actually do a show on that one night, because that's actually a really interesting subject. Because the bullet had a life of its own.
They have bullets like that now.
Smart bullets. Yeah, guns that shoot around corners and stuff like that. Because they use cameras and stuff. But they didn't have that then, did they? But they said they had the rifle.
They do.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. So what other Mandela effects do you have, Dakota?
I just had the Pokemon one.
Oh.
Because that was the most convincing one.
That's very true. That's very true. So anybody in the chat tonight, what's your opinion, guys, on the Mandela effect? And people are probably wondering, why is it called the Mandela effect? Because a lot of people think Nelson Mandela died in prison. I don't know. I can remember him getting out. There was the protests, and he got out. But I've met people that were convinced he died in that cell.
Oh, here's another one. Shazam.
Okay. Shazam, that's that.
The Genie movie by Sinbad.
Yeah.
And here's a thing, and I just thought of this because I was thinking around on TikTok, and somebody was convinced that an interview with Sinbad was him confessing that they pulled all the tapes. When you got to remember, the man's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
He ain't afraid to fuck with people's heads.
Yeah.
Oh, Pillsbury Doughboy in the color of his handkerchief. Nice.
Right.
What about it?
That's it.
I thought it was all white.
It's all white, is it though?
I was about to say. When did it? It was like,
See,
we need
see,
some younger people in here. I feel like I'm surrounded by a bunch of old farts.
What
I
do
feel
you
like
mean?
I'm in a child. I feel like I'm in a child trafficking ring. What the hell?
Aye, but there's only one problem with that, Dakota. I mean, honestly, let's have a game in the chat. What age do you think Dakota is? Everybody, put the ages down below. You can get me back, Everton. You can guess what age I am, too, but you'll probably get that wrong. I'm melting.
39, turning 40 in September.
No, I'm not 39. Who said I was 39?
I'm looking at the Doughboy right now, and I'm seeing all white except for his eyes and the little Pillsbury thing in the center of his hat being blue. Other than that,
that's the thing. We all have different memories. That is the thing.
Well, didn't they?
There's some Pillsbury Dough. There's the Pillsbury Doughboy salt and pepper shakers where his handkerchief is blue.
Aye.
Right.
See, what's that? Adobe Sock here in the UK. We can use crossbows and what's that? Catapults, no guns, but the people hold. You turn into Robin Hood. There, Dobby, riding through the glen.
More like Daryl from The Walking Dead.
Flinging him over the wall.
There's mittens. It's blue, right? But that's the thing. That's what Mittens remembers. It was blue. But we remember it being white. I mean, the Monopoly Man was the biggest one for me. Monopoly Man. With his monocle. What's your thought? You ever played Monopoly, Drew? Come on, don't say you've not played Monopoly.
Monopoly. That used to be one of my family. When I was growing up, that was one of those games that my mom and sister and I used to sit down and try to play at least a couple times a month.
Did the Monopoly Man have a monocle? Did I bring up a picture?
I don't know. I know Mr. Peanut did, but I don't remember whether or not the Monopoly guy did.
I can remember the Monopoly Man having a monocle, but then it's just my opinion again.
There's one picture showing a monocle and one picture not showing one.
Yeah, but the people that make Monopoly have always said that he never had a monocle. There've never been any proof out there that he had a monocle. But, as I say, me and others can remember him wearing a monocle.
Oh, come on. He was rich in the 40s. Everybody wore a monocle back then that had money.
Yeah.
One posh prick.
Oh, yes. And if there's any posh people listening to this tonight and you're a multi-millionaire, don't mind Dakota. We can easily replace him if you want to make a large donation.
Just make a large donation and I'll zip my lip.
You know?
Yeah, he's just jealous because he wants to have a reason to wear a monocle. Just walking around with one and being broke just doesn't, it just doesn't have the same effect on people.
Right,
people got scared when I started happened to wear an eye patch.
There's the Smith family paranormal. Never had a monocle, but I beg to differ because I used to play Monopoly a lot, and I can remember him with a monocle. Damn, I wished I'd kept that.
I think there was some online games that had him. He had a monocle, but as regularly wearing it on the logo, no.
But this is right. Look, this is going back to. I used to play Monopoly when I started playing it when I was about 7 or 8, and I was born in 1981. Didn't have the internet, right? So we didn't have Sky TV. We didn't have any computers. Right? I'm old, I know. That's what life is. Here's PWI Investors. You know. You'll be here one day, Dakota. You'll be here. What's that, Drew?
Now, what about the fact that, and I've noticed this a lot more since I grew up and had access to, the internet, and I could look at things from other parts of the world. When they released versions of certain things, be it packaging for certain foods or product or whatever, in Europe, they released an altered version.
Yes.
There, other than what it was in America. Look at
yes.
Modern day. Look at the grocery store Aldi's.
Yes.
Aldi's in America, the sign is blue and white. In Europe, it's red and white.
Look at right. I can spawn off multiple candy bars. Here you have bars called Lion bars, right? But in the United States, they're exactly the same thing, but they're called Klondike bars, right? There's candy over here called Polo Mints, right? But they're exactly the same thing in the United States. They're called Lifesavers.
Actually, that just made me think of something. A discussion Chris and I had the other night. Drew, help me be the deciding vote here.
Okay.
The belt in your car that helps run AC, coolant fluid through the car. What would you call that? It helps run the fluid through the car. If it snaps, bitch.
Yeah, you're just talking about the regular, they call some places called an AC belt, some places call it a drive belt or a timing belt or timing chain or.
So what was that you called it, Dakota? Can I say?
It's called a serpentine belt over here, and that's what pulls up when you fucking Google it, you dickhead.
But see, that's I blame the
shut the fuck up.
I blame the Mandela effect or the mad hypocrisy of the American society for changing its name.
Some American cars have a serpentine belt. Some American cars have multiple belts that's all ran by drive belt.
But my car has a timing chain, which is inside the engine, right? But in the outside, I've got a power steering pump, I've got an air conditioning pump, and I've got an alternator, which is drove from the engine with a drive belt. And I just changed it. That's what that power. We call them, that's what it's called. They used to be called fan belts, but fans are electric now. They're not drove by, what do you call it? They're drove by electric motors. Long ago, it used to be the engine that cooled itself down, right? But serpentine belt, there you go, the Smith family. Wrong. I am wrong. I'll admit that.
I was about to say, this conversation came up because I was out driving, taking care of some errands, and as I was parked somewhere and dropping off a package to get sent up by FedEx, as I'm walking away from the car, my fucking serpentine belt snaps underneath the hood. Thankfully, I was just a walking distance from an auto parts store so I can get it fixed. I come home, I was having issues because I didn't realize I grabbed the wrong fucking belt, and this one was more concerned about the fact that I called it a weird name than I was possibly sunstruck. Heartless prick.
We are talking with, look, you have to admit, guys, and I'm probably outnumbered here because there's probably more Americans on here than British people. But you do like to change the name of things. And this is coming into the Mandela effect and stuff. You are awful bad at changing the name of things.
There we go.
Like, take a British car, for instance. British car, you'll have the bit where you lift up to look at the engine. We call that the bonnet. The bonnet. But you call it the hood. Right? These have got strange names of like the boot. You open to put your shopping in, right? We call it the boot, right? Where you put stuff in. You call it the trunk, right? Yes, I'll admit You like to change things. Strange things.
There we go.
There you go. So
There
what's
we go.
happening?
Chris.
It's a segue.
Hey, Chris, when you go into a grocery store to buy food and you grab one of those big wire things with wheels on it, what are they called?
Oh, yeah.
A shopping cart. A trolley. A shopping
There
trolley.
you go.
I've heard them called a trolley. I've heard them called a car.
No, we call them trolleys. A shopping trolley.
Yep, here they're a shopping cart.
Dear. Now we're going off the subject.
But then again, I have said for years, American English is a bastardized version of about 15 different languages.
You've got to remember the unique. Yeah, the United
That's
States
why we have 20 words that all mean one thing.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember. Yeah, there's going to be people watching this and listening to this tonight going, the Americans are Americans. No, the Americans are made up of English people, Irish people, Scottish people, French people. Because look, Louisiana, for instance, there's a lot of French people living in Scotland. Oh, think of it. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got another bloody name for that day. Wouldn't it surprise me?
No. Well, here's the thing. You got to be careful because here in the States, if you go with what Drew's talking about, and I promise this does fit into the conversation. Okay?
Here we go.
There we go. You got sandals, flip-flops, okay? Stuff like this.
Yes, we call them flip-flops too.
We call them thongs. Like we also call the part of women's underwear that, why doesn't it whistle when they fart?
Oh, it's like in the United Kingdom would we call pants underwear, where you call them trousers.
That's true. Now, who's to say that the Mandela effect isn't a factor?
Faces look exposed there, and they're kind of strange poses. Look.
Think about it this way. Now, everybody here that knows me knows I am of Scottish descent, so I spent a lot of my adult life studying Scottish, studying Gaelic, studying Scotland. Hey, Chris.
Yes.
One thing I realized in America, if you kiss somebody's fanny, it could be a shitty situation. In Scotland, when you kiss somebody's fanny, it could be a good time.
Oh, yeah, God, dear Jesus, just help me, please, Lord. Help me.
Oh, my God.
It's like smoking cigarettes.
Now, in Scotland, I wouldn't mind kissing somebody's fanny, especially someone, like 110-pound redhead. However, in America, you don't want them to kiss anybody's fanny because,
unless you're into that, but.
Oh, my God. Ladies and gentlemen of the UK, British and UK Empire, displaying these reverse.
I'm down here.
I know.
I see you doing this, Brenda.
It's you got to remember. I think a lot of the Mandela effect. There is Mandela effects that's very spooky and very strange, right? But I do think some of the other ones are misinterpreted. Right, there is a few that's misinterpreted, right? But I still say the Monopoly Man. That's still one that's puzzles me. What's that?
There's one that just came to mind. I can't remember the name of the show because it was before my time, but it was about anamorphic sharks. And I'm hoping somebody can tell me the name. I'll remember it if I see it. Basically, this was an article about a gentleman who accidentally created a Mandela effect.
Right.
He used to run a wiki page, and this was before Wikipedia was really a thing, and there was community checks. And just for shits and giggles, he created a pink girl shark character. And all of a sudden, everybody started saying they remembered seeing the shark in the show. There was never a girl shark character in this show.
That's very interesting. That is very interesting. That is. I'm good.
What's an anamorphic shark?
And that's a question.
Think
About
like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but with sharks.
I remember that cartoon.
Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, the anamorphic shark one with the shark, the shark creatures.
I can't remember that, but using American, obviously, it's more an American thing again. It's like Smith Family Paranormal. What do you mean? It's like Smith Family Paranormal. What do you call potato chips? As I would say, we call them crisps, as they're crispy.
Street Sharks, yes!
Crispy.
Yep.
Street Sharks, I can't remember.
Thank you, Raymond.
That's it.
But yeah, an American program.
Well, again, that one would have come out before I was even born, so.
You get away your age here, you'll be too young.
Yeah,
that's actually,
I'm only 26.
That's actually a really good point, Smith family, because that's one thing that really confused the hell out of me when I was trying to, because see, my wife and I, she wants to take me back to Scotland, but she wants to wait until our daughter goes to college or moves out and gets married because she knows I won't want to come back. And so, while me studying Scottish words for things, that really threw me off because I saw fish and chips the first time, and I'm thinking like, well, who wants to eat potato chips with fish? And then I realized, oh wait, their chips are French fries. Their potato chips are crisps.
Yeah. It's like Smith Family Paranormal says cookies. Well, we call cookies, but we've got other things and we call them biscuits. Cookies are like chocolate chip cookies or chocolate chip nut cookies are called cookies, but we do have things called biscuits. I should really put my posh voice on for this one.
Yeah. Here's a good one. When you say use a rubber, Chris, what do you think of?
Yeah. What?
What do you? No, wait. I asked you. No, it's Smith family brought up. No, what would be a rubber? A use for a rubber?
Oh, there's multiple names for it. There's multiple names. One of them is Johnny's. One of them's condoms, but that's it. Well, there's other names there, but I'm not saying that.
Wow, anytime I've heard a British person say use a rubber, they're talking about a fucking pencil eraser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's how we perceive things.
But then again, I guess if the condom is used appropriately, it does erase a couple of things. But that's
the thing. If you had to show a pencil rubber, right, to me, I would probably call it an eraser. Because that's what it is. It's an eraser. You get the ones over. You get the blue and the red ones joined together. One for pen, one for pencil, and they're called erasers. What's that? Bridies and pasties. That's an interesting one.
I didn't realize they were called bridies.
Really? Come on, give some American things, and I'll tell you what they're called. And this is quite good. This one because near the end of the show, just tell us some American stuff, and I'll tell you what they're called.
Oh, good.
Come on.
I can't think of one besides the obvious, and that's an elevator.
A lift.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny when I went on my Scotland trip. We passed through London Heathrow for a layover. They had to have American to UK English translation.
Yes, because some of you are not fluent in the.
We had to get it from somewhere.
What do you mean? Look! I'm going to get into this mad pavarkle again. Where would you be without Scotland? We invented everything.
A lot less liver issue?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that with whiskey, penicillin, telephone,
golf,
you name it. Golf. I can't explain that sport, man. I don't know how folk can do that, play that, whacking a wee white ball about a field. You know?
I would rather watch flies.
Braces. Well, we call them braces.
Why did I get the feeling that was supposed to lead somewhere?
I want to know. I want to know how Scotland, and maybe Chris can answer that. Maybe Dobby can answer it. I don't know.
Scotland? I don't know.
How could Scotland be murder capital of the world if nobody owns guns?
Don't need guns to kill someone.
I don't think Scotland's the murder capital.
We're going to beat them with a haggis?
Where did you
Choking
learn
on
that?
a haggis will do it.
Well, I'll tell you, the haggis is a strange creature and
I love haggis.
very difficult to catch,
I love haggis. We were talking about haggis earlier in the chat, and I've had real haggis once in my life, only because most of the ingredients of haggis, real haggis, is outlawed and not considered food here.
Yes. You can. I was going to send a tin of haggis to the United States to a friend, but it was turned back at the post station because it's illegal to send it because it's got everything in it. Sheep's stomach, barley, oats. It's got blooming heart. It's got absolutely everything in it. In America, it's classed as an illegal food.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got
now. I make an American haggis here at home a lot of times, and the family loves it, but I can't see my wife and daughter sitting down eating, anything stuffed inside a sheep's stomach and boiled. But here I use, chunks of beef. I use ground beef. I use sausage.
Mm-hmm.
I use chicken. I put oats, different vegetables and spices inside of a boiling bag.
Mm-hmm.
And basically make a boiled meatloaf out of it.
There is another thing that we hear, and it's awfully good, but it's more an English kind of thing, is black pudding.
Oh, I know.
Black
pudding or blood pudding.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's pig's blood with oats and barley and stuff like that. Boiled. You're making me hungry.
I know. Good thing I'm having dinner after this.
I know. I should say I'm making me hungry, and thank God my wife finished dinner about 20 minutes ago. So
there you go. So Dakota, do you have any announcements to make? Do you have anything to say to the amazing audience and amazing listeners of the podcast?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have some upsetting news.
What's that?
We may have to celebrate quite well because we now have a brand new affiliate program in our store for those who would like to earn a little extra cash. You can sign up to this, become a member of Bald and Bonkers, get your YouTube channel. I can't fucking talk.
That's it. It's the Mandela effect. Turn that up to full power.
Got it. Anyway.
Oh yeah, suddenly you have an afro appear on the head.
Can I get my Pleiadian locks back, please? Anyway, I just posted the link in the chat. If you would like to earn a little extra money and check out our huge line of merch, I think we have a catalog of over 4,000 items in our store now. We have ghost hunting equipment. We have books. We have fashion for you ladies, and don't worry.
Oh, yes, definitely is fashion.
Let me finish. Don't worry, ladies. If you're a little extra curvy, we got you covered because big girls need some love too.
Yes. Sometimes I wonder. I really do wonder about Dakota ladies.
The one that wanted me to run this bitch.
Yeah, that's very true because obviously it's like putting me in command.
Check out our Bald and Boobies intimate apparel section.
Exactly. We have our lingerie collection. We have swimsuits, all sorts of fun stuff. Sherry was way too excited to see all that.
Mm-hmm. And
we have thongs.
Yeah, and we've got a new model for the thongs. will be
We,
starring in some of the catalogs soon.
we're actually discussing a line of adult toys. Some of them are smooth on top, and some of them just have a ring of hair that go around them.
Thank God we have the
Honestly.
viewer discretion advised warning now.
We are talking about bringing we are talking about bringing out our own moisturizer line. What's it called?
Oh yeah, in honor of Dave Schrader,
Yes.
What about Mankinis? We got those too.
Mm.
In honor of Dave Schrader, I'm in the middle of myself. Sorry. No. God damn it. Fucking women.
Now maybe want to see the catalog.
No, that's my sister. Anyway. What was I saying?
You were talking about
Something about Dave Schrader.
Yeah, I did
Yes.
say that, and it was the moisturizer.
We now have the McRubbin underwear line, highly requested at Christopher.
Yeah.
And he is also wanting McRubbin moisturizer. If you're wondering where we got that reference, go back and watch that episode that I'm shocked even happened.
Yeah.
It made me cry a little bit, but, it's okay. Men can cry too.
Yeah. I know.
I want to know, when it comes to the thongs, are they American thongs or are they European thongs? I mean, which fanny does the little string go up?
They are American, and we even have one that says Ghost Hunters Like It Free.
There you go. You got a pair, Drew. You can march over the glens.
I would
Highlands,
wear those. I would sport them puppies in an investigation.
I don't know what would be worse, a succubus jumping out a cupboard or you marching into the room wearing them.
Oh, can we get that guy out who's watching us through Twitch to stop obsessing over the succubus? We're not going to do that.
I mean, but if you want to buy thongs or anything else, please visit the website.
Yeah. You can also become an affiliate. If you have a YouTube channel, we can feature you on the Bald and Bonkers TV network. Which, by the way, Drew, I sent you a link to your channel through Facebook Messenger, so you can check that out finally.
Well, actually,
now, do our videos that we post on YouTube, do they automatically go straight on there as long as we've got them clicked to? So all we do is upload them on YouTube, and they automatically upload to the Bald and Bonkers site.
I wish. No, I got to physically go in and add the videos as we go, but as long as you have the embedding turned on, we can definitely. Oh dear God, Dobby.
No, Dobby. Well, actually, what we were.
I'm modeling one of the shirts right now.
No, I was actually thinking, Mike. I was thinking, Mike, the Naked Bigfoot. Are you there? We want you to model a thong for us. We want you to be the new model for Bald and Bonkers. We need you, Mike. We need you to march over those hills of West Virginia in the search for Bigfoot wearing Bald and Bonkers thongs.
Which does remind me, we do have some discussions for some big brand partnerships, which I'm not going to go into fully yet. Chris knows a little bit about what's going on, but we're still ironing out the paperwork. But a lot of amazing stuff is coming. Be sure to check us out, baldandbonkers.net. It'll help you find links to all the rest of the fun stuff. The store's constantly getting new stuff added. And if there's something we can't find for the store, we are an Amazon affiliate, so we can refer. Oh, dear God.
Honestly,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you need to come to the live shows, because whenever we veer off like that, it's usually because someone made a smart-ass remark in the chat.
Yeah. I mean, what's that? Smith Family were on Amazon. I'm not even going to read that other one,
We do have an Amazon affiliate program with us, so we can recommend you stuff through Amazon at no extra cost to you. Don't apologize, Smith Family.
God, don't apologize.
We're bald and bonkers for a reason. If anybody gets offended,
that's why it goes out to the podcast. We're getting thousands of views in the podcast. The YouTube's not the best, but the podcast is better. But hey, you know what I talk about our guests next Saturday, Dakota?
Oh, who do we have next Saturday?
We have the Pet Medium and Lisa Fry.
Your friend Lisa is back, and she is bringing along a pet psychic. And what was her name again?
I don't know, because I gave it to you.
You mother.
It's terrible. I just don't know. Give me one moment here.
You wonder why women get pissed off at you. You are nowhere near a gentleman. The least you can do. You're wanting me to hook you up with all these women. The least you can do is try to remember their names, besides the ones that have the French accent. And Drew's giving us head. Wow.
Just a little head.
Honestly.
Well, at your age, I imagine there's not much flowing.
Let me check this. You've not added it to the thing. I was waiting to check the live out there to see if you've added the name, but I can't seem to see it. It's terrible. Info coming soon. That's terrible. I'll get it after for you. Yeah.
I'm going to have to dig through your fucking messages since
you guys, this is the problem. This is the problem when you have.
I can't even get you to get me the guest information. Any of their links? No, I got to physically go digging.
I sent it all over to you.
Oh my fucking god! And there's only a limit to how far ahead we can schedule shit because of social media trolls. That's not on me. That's you.
And this is why I always say, at what point did we lose control?
I believe at about 55-minute mark is when we really start running it off.
Sunday. It's Sunday, and that's it. You know, Sunday, and there you go. It's Sunday. What can I say? Well, actually, at least we're getting more views. It used to only about 2 in the chat or something like that for some weird reason. And remember, please, ladies and gentlemen, the news will come out about who is on next Saturday with Lisa, because I gave it to Dakota, so I'll just need to search through his messages there. I'll search through them and find them for him. What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. But what was I going to say? I totally forgot. I've had a brain freeze again. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Getting old and decrepit and forgetful.
I'm already like this when I'm 26. I'm screwed when I'm old.
Oh God! When I'm 149, I'm going to be some state. You know.
Bald and Bonkers is brought to you tonight by Jergens Head Wax. Use your imagination.
Yes. That's a good point. We should email some of the people at Head Polish, you know, maybe make something for that.
Well, I don't know. Dr. Squatch were the ones in communication to possibly work with. So if you can't trust big hairy men, well, wait.
Well, have we got a contract with them yet? Have we got?
We are actually in talks with Dr. Squatch for something.
That would be cool. I like Dr. Squatch.
I've never tried Dr. Squatch.
It's good shit, and think about it.
More
Dr.
like
Squatch, think about this.
Is it Admiral for the human body?
We deal with cryptozoology. We deal with, I know, God. Seriously, where did we lose control? I'm going to have to start including a therapy plan for future employment.
Actually, Smith family, if you remember back to the original Turtles movie, it was turtle wax they were using on
Oh, God.
Yep, turtle wax. There you
go. Yeah. Dear God, help us all. Help us all. You know.
All right, I got to look for therapy for you people.
Well, I think the Smith family paranormal definitely need the therapy. I definitely think you need therapy. You know, but you're actually in luck. We've actually got a therapist. His name's Dr. Drew Ellingsworth. He doesn't charge much, so we'll be sending you round to his location.
I want to know at what point in time I sprouted an ING in my name.
I'm still trying to figure out how the hell my last name became Ferguson.
Is it no Franson?
It's Franson, not Ferguson.
Yeah, it's Franson, the girl's name.
And mine's Ellsworth.
Not Ellingsworth.
Oh, mine's Mole. So it's Moule. It's no Mule. Everybody keep pronouncing my names. Even when I go to the bank and that, it's always to pronounce my name Mule.
But then you got to say the original pronunciation is Mule. So how are we supposed to?
Because I like it. Because I like it. I like getting called Mole. I like getting called Mole. That's
a
that.
furry
That's
little rat that buries in the ground. I guess it's better than calling.
Yeah, I'm starting to say that's a mole, M-O-L-E.
Yeah, you're rather a little rat that buries into the dirt than you call the jackass. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
At least I'm not quite Francis, girl's name. What's that? Raymond G. Newsroom. The original turtles didn't have different coloured bandanas. The Mandela effect strikes again.
Printing issues.
Yep, the original turtles all wore brown bandanas around their eyes, and they all wore brown belts and bandoliers.
So there you go.
Don't use Nair on your head. My mother actually recommended that.
Oh, God, don't do it. I did it one time, burnt the shit out of myself.
Yeah, that's why one of my exes recommended I use the bikini wax version. More sensitive.
Do you polish your head of that, Dakota? Do you have like a shining schedule?
No.
See, I've still got some hair left, which keeps the sun rays off.
No.
Wax. You see, you get the old car polisher out.
No, I don't shine my crystal ball.
Dakota, just for the shits and giggles of it, man. Sometime you need to be walking through town. Go up to like a Mastercard or something and turn like you're going to open the door and then just stop for a second and shake your head and turn around and walk away. See how many of them bust out laughing.
Wow.
Drew, can I ask you a question? Do you have anything planned for this week, Drew? Any shows this week you want people to check out?
I'm actually releasing a video tomorrow on Sasquatch. No, wait, I changed that. It is not on Sasquatch.
Well, I hope something.
But I've got one coming out tomorrow, probably 10:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm working on a collaboration video with Santee from Arizona Ghostwriters. If anybody here is familiar at all with his channel, he has a ghost that pops up in a lot of his videos named Bill Brazelton. I'm going to try to be like the first person to ever interview a ghost live on stream.
Interesting.
Let me see here. What else we got coming up? We have got we've got 4 big investigations coming up this month. We just got the confirmation tonight that a place we've been trying to get into for 7 months. They contacted me, said, please come. We have had a buttload of stuff happen here recently, and we need you to come. They had a group come in February, and they did an investigation only in the basement of this business. And it riled whatever's there so much that it affected the couple that owns the place for 2 weeks afterwards. And in the last week, they have lost their walk-in cooler. They've lost their beer cooler under the bar. They have lost their pizza oven. They have lost the steaming table for their buffet and like 4 or 5 other things. And they said, we need you to come. Try to calm them down, help us try to get rid of it, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. That one's going to be coming up the end of the month. But we have a historic village coming up next week. We have got the oldest cemetery in South Bend, Indiana. It's taken us a lot of red tape to get in this place.
That'll be nice.
There are graves there older than the state of Indiana.
That would be
So,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, we're going to be busy for the rest of the month. As for the streams, Mondays and Fridays, morning and evening, 8 o'clock a.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. Just going to have to check in and look and see what's coming up with us, because I never know from day to day, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Well, I think tonight's been a fantastic night. So, Dakota, what else is we've got? Sherry's coming back next Friday, isn't she?
Well, we'll see how that goes. You know how Sherry could be.
Sherry's a busy bumblebee. You know?
Yeah.
Sherry is very busy. I don't know how she does it.
I don't know if
sometimes.
she does it either. Honestly,
I don't know how she still has hair.
I know. See, that's that. She need to join the Bonkers. All the hair to follow it. You know. The joy of doing live streaming, guys. It's just amazing, you know. But thank you everybody for coming tonight, and we'll see you next Saturday for the Pet Psychic. If you've got any questions or anything for anyone, if you've lost a loved pet, or obviously cat, dog, or hamster, we'll see if we can maybe get her to maybe give a couple of years, maybe a wee reading or something, you know. You know, what's that, Dakota? You're like doing a dance there?
No, that just reminded me of a dirty joke when you said hamster.
It's not something for the shop, is it?
Not a gerbil
No,
joke.
I think it would get us flagged by Family Feud, but that's about it.
Yeah. So, Drew, thank you for coming on, and have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you all next week. And could you please check out the online store where you can see amazing things that Dakota has done. Check out the links too for the website, because that's awesome too. So, guys, catch you all later. Have a great week. Be safe in that hot weather too, because it's sunstroke and that. And watch the road too, because it's very, very dangerous in the hot weather.
Oh, yeah.
Take care, guys, and catch you all later.
Later.
Take care.
All right. Come on.